All right, so if you are online today, you'll realize that there is common sense and common nonsense. I'm here to try and bring you something in between. I'm here to bring you uncommon sense about why the content calendar is dead or dying. We'll see. I'm Mark Kaigwa and you're watching Digital Africa. A content calendar, according to Convince and Convert, is a shared marketing resource that is used amongst planning teams. This could be your agency, this could be your boss, this could be the department, and that's used to hold some sense of planning and accountability within regarding all aspects of content. That's the definition of a content calendar. In 2010, when you joined somewhere like Facebook or Twitter or any of the various other social networks, you would have found that the best way to reach out to them is to use a content calendar. So the typical way goes something like you pick a theme for the month or for the week, and then you can pre-write and pre-compose and create every bit of content that's going to go out. So back in 2010 or the earlier days, people would actually write good morning, right? And then they would decide how many times they want to speak in a given day. In 2017, you can even go as far as scheduling up to 3 months worth of content at a single click. If you prepare it all in advance, you can automatically, or as they say in this internet age, automagically, put it aside and make sure now that you can focus elsewhere. So you're doing all the work up front. However, a lot has changed between 2010 and 2017. So common sense might say, let's make a content calendar. That's what we do. But uncommon sense says that in 2017, the content calendar is dying, and in some industries, it may be already dead. The challenge of content calendars, and the reason I'm saying that they may be dead or dying, is because people ended up getting too much into a box and structured or overly structured way of thinking. So what it turned agencies into overnight is essentially sweatshops of copywriters writing captions, graphic designers exporting brands, guideline-driven creative or visuals, and people essentially churning out content, ticking a box, rather than actually delivering value to the audience. So at the end of the day, the content calendar has a great purpose. You can structure it around key events coming up, and you can actually use it to push the boundaries of what content is and who it serves of your online audience. The challenge of where we are now is it became commoditized. So some people actually go and think that, well, your content calendar right now, I want you to do double the amount of content. So they would look at it as something around volume, not value. One of the big challenges with this set of thinking is that it turns agencies, as I said, into places that don't think about the end customer, but think about a KPI, that we need 5 posts today. And there's less creative and narrative-driven thinking, and this has reduced not just the relevance of a traditional content calendar, but the actual results that it generates for whatever brand, service, product, or page or platform that it's on. So what you're actually seeing over time is fewer and fewer people seeing it, interacting with it, and sharing it, which is the entire point of having a presence to begin with, that people would see it and take notice of it. And the reason for that is because Facebook's algorithm, if we were to take Facebook as an example, we'll find that with over 7.1 million Kenyans active every month on that social network. If you've not seen the video that I did on all social media statistics, we'll link to that, but I'd encourage you to start there and come back and see this, or follow this video with that. For Facebook, they have an algorithm by the name of EdgeRank. Now, the way that EdgeRank works is it determines what you and I will find on our Facebook newsfeed. And in there, it is using several very key components to determine, algorithmically, if you like, using artificial intelligence, what you are likely to engage with and what you desire to see. Over time, the content calendar in its traditional format has begun to see less and less visibility and engagement because people weren't optimizing for value, they were optimizing for volume. They wanted 10 posts no matter what. as opposed to saying that we want this outcome in terms of results. And those results could actually be engagement, they could be likes, they could be views, impressions and shares and so on. And because the focus is here on volume and generating content, there's a net negative or a depreciating effect on the actual brand and organization. So in some cases, we have at Nendo seen large corporations in Kenya that are getting less than 1% organic reach. Were it not for the money they actually spend to boost their content, they would actually be seeing lower and lower returns. And that speaks not to the content purely, but the process that generates the content. And if you're not asking questions about that, then that's why I can proclaim to you that the content calendar is dead or dying. It depends. In some cases, people are not prepared to change the formula that was common sense in 2010, but is not common sense in 2017 with EdgeRank. And now algorithms are not just on Facebook, they're going to all manner of social networks. Twitter has gotten a firestorm of users who are unhappy and up in arms. You know why? Because users have always been bought on the promise that I'll get onto Twitter and see what was already posted. But now you may have seen the words, "in case you missed this." Those words speak to Twitter's own changing of the flow of over 500 million tweets every day into a world where we are algorithmically driven. So what does that do? It means, bottom line, that you must change or adapt or improve the process by which you generate and approve content, because otherwise you are not only going to see negative returns, but ultimately, what's the point of doing it if you're not in it for value? Not value necessarily just for you, but for your audience. That's how you grow, sustain, retain, and activate an online audience for offline action or for whatever your goal and purpose is. Bonus tip. If you're watching the videos, you always know I have a little something extra. Consider this. It's crazy, but it just might work. One thought for you is to cut your content calendar by a third, or if you want to be brave and bold, by half. But Mark, we pay our agency per post. That's the wrong metric. Choose a different result, and therefore you're moving from volume of posts, which if you look, one of the best ways to figure this out is to look and say, if I go to your page, Twitter, or any social network at all, one of the things I'll be asking myself is, what's the narrative here? What's the actual story that you're playing out for people post by post? And if I don't see that and all I see is you ticking a box to make sure you picked a different product or service or feature or benefit, then I struggle to understand what you're actually trying to do as far as value. And so that's my challenge to you, is that the content calendar may continue to die for you unless you change the approach. One thing that tentatively is starting to work is cutting down on content. It seems counterintuitive. I told you it would be uncommon sense, but cutting down on content means you optimize more for results, for time, and there's even some experts agree, and I'll make sure I link to the experts below, that if you have a bit of engagement within the first, let's call it first hour, right, that you may actually see better results, even with less content overall. So my challenge to you is to save the content calendar from dying. It's on its deathbed, it could be. You may actually start by doing less content and focusing more on the value of that content for the audience it's actually supposed to reach, and hopefully nudge to some kind of action or some kind of movement down what we call the purchase path. It's a bit technical for now, but I'm hoping the bonus tip starts to activate your mindset and change the way you think of content. Because if you're sitting there with a big red pen, circling things and approving them, but there's no data behind it, you may actually be missing out on the whole point, which is to hold every post accountable for moving a specific audience who it is targeted to one step further. Thanks for watching. That's it for this video, but I don't want to leave you empty-handed. I want to hear from you. I want your questions, your comments, your agency, whoever it is who's going to say something, your client side. I know that I may have ruffled a few feathers. comes with the territory. I hope most importantly, it helps you create the content that you want to create in the first place by being online, which is the kind of material and content that actually advances your goals, but ultimately creates value for the audience you're actually trying to cultivate and grow online. So mine is to ask you if this video has been valuable to you, to like it on whatever platform, like the page it came from, like the video itself, share it with a friend and subscribe, because I would love to get information like this to you as often as I can. And for now, that's a few times a week. It may be more. I'll be waiting to hear from you. And I'm excited to bring this kind of information to you, to challenge you, to help you to be better, to help you to grow your online and offline outcomes through uncommon sense. And that's what we do at Nendo. Ultimately, the reason we even do these videos is so that we can actually equip you with the skills, the insights, and the solutions to grow your online audience and whatever outcome you have, business or impact or otherwise. We want to zero in on that and make digital accountable for actual results. So if that sounds of interest to you and this video has got you thinking, you may want to consider a digital audit from Nendo, and we would be happy to share what that means to you and what kind of impact it could generate. If you're still there now, we also write a weekly newsletter called The Letter N, and I'd appreciate if I had the chance to share with you what I've been thinking and mulling about with my team each week. It's got over 1,500 people across the world, including Africa, of course, who open it and interact with it, and it takes the best of everything that I've come across with my team on the African consumer internet, technology, media, marketing, and we present what we're calling What to Sip, which is a small quote. We describe it as a tasting menu of links. So it's a quote that you can read in 30 seconds. We have What to Nibble, which is a 5-minute read or less. And in that case, we're just giving you a quick thing that you can listen to or watch or read. And that's really just to engage you a bit deeper on what's mattering to us at Nendo. And lastly, we have What to Bite. And this is the main meal of every newsletter. It's the main big read. And this is typically a long read. It's up to 20 minutes. A few weeks ago, we sent one that was 37 minutes long to read. Yes, some people actually want to read things that long. You can find the archive, and more importantly, you can actually subscribe so I can get this to you first by visiting nendo.co.ke, leaving your email address there, and confirming the email that comes to your inbox to confirm that you've actually subscribed. And I'll be seeing you whether in your inbox, your timeline, or elsewhere soon. You're watching Digital Africa, and I'm Mark Kaigwa.